Hello, everyone. This is a weird thing. We're doing a poll now. Uh, yeah, hi. So, I want to get this done with relatively fast because I want to go stream Danganronpa over my stream, twitch.tv/Haarute wink. But we're doing a new poll. So, I have a list of shows that we are doing because The Expanse is about to finish, is about to end. That's how sentences work. So is Torchwood, but as soon as I'm done with Torchwood, I'm gonna be watching Good Omens. So if you're interested in Good Omens, then you're in good luck. I'm gonna be watching that as soon as Torchwood is over. But for The Expanse, I don't have a replacement. I suppose I don't have a replacement for Good Omens. So there will be another poll in like a month. But so I have a list of shows over here. There are like 13 shows, I believe. And also, this is the second time I'm recording this video, but the first time there was like a power outage or whatever, and it just killed the whole mood. And I was like, well, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to do it later. So now we have a rushed version over here. So I'm going to list a bunch of shows to you, and I'm going to give like a small description of what I think I know what they're about and what do I might know about them. So first show on the list is Mr. Robot. So I think it's like about like cyborg, like a cyborg dude or cyborg people or whatever. I'm really and like hackers and shit. Like I'm really not sure what it is about. But what I do know is that last time I made a poll, which was like a year ago at this point, people were like, "Yo, you're not doing Mr. Robot. Like that's a bummer. I really would have loved if you actually watched Mr. Robot." And it wasn't like a single person; it was like multiple people, because Mr. Robot wasn't even in the poll. So from that, I was like, okay, there is an interest for Mr. Robot, and I've seen the name thrown around a couple times. So I'm like, you know what? Sure, Mr. Robot. Let's throw it in the poll. So this poll, here it is, first fucking nomination. There you go. So, oh, and by the way, the way the poll is gonna work is that it's a Patreon poll, but it is a free poll. Okay, it's a free poll. You don't need to pay for anything. All you need is a Patreon account in order to vote for it. And the Patreon account doesn't necessarily have to pay for anything. It's just a free account you have to make. And the reason why I'm doing it that way is because I believe you can cheese out other versions of polls that I can make. Like if I make a straw poll, I believe if people can just load up the link in like a incognito window, or maybe hide their VPN, their IP address with a VPN or whatever, and it's gonna be a whole thing. YouTube comments can also be cheese. So we're doing the Patreon poll way, like I did with classic Doctor Who episodes back in the day. But the poll is free, so don't worry about it. All you need is an account, and the account you can make for free. And then you go into the poll, into the link, and you vote for one. And I'm gonna make it so you can only vote for one. So choose wisely. Mr. Robot is the first nomination. The second nomination is an animated show, actually. I haven't done any animated shows in this channel yet, but I actually do enjoy animation a lot. I enjoyed it more than live action, actually. So, this is Western, and it's Avatar: The Last Airbender. So, this is a classic. I known about the show since I have memory. Like, it was on TV all the time when I was a kid. I just never watched it, and I have a funny story about why I never watched it, but I'll tell it if it wins the poll in the first episode. That's a little bit of a tease. But yeah, I never seen it. What I know, I know a couple things about it, by like osmosis of living life and hearing things about it. Like there's like the four elements, and there's like different like countries that have master different elements, and the main character is this bald little kid who like is mastering all four or whatever, and I believe he's the last airbender, so the air people might not be around anymore. That's kind of all I know. I also know that like Zuko's best boy, apparently. That's what I've heard in social media. Other than that, oh, and I know that there's like a sequel, which is Korra, right? So there's also that one. If we do Avatar, the Last Airbender, we're probably going to do Korra afterwards, but there might be a poll for it. So, okay, that's the animated show nomination. There's actually a couple other animated, so never mind that. But yes, that's on the list. Next show on the list it's a big boy, and it's Game of Thrones. I know that the show was like good, and then it wasn't. So okay, So I've heard, I've like even talked with comments over the past like year and a half, 2 years about like Game of Thrones. And people have shown interest in watching Game of Thrones reactions. People have also almost universally agreed that it sucked at the end. And that's really funny to me because okay, I really love the fact that this show was like the biggest shit in the universe. Like you couldn't escape Game of Thrones. Like I lived through the Game of Thrones era. And people would talked about it all the time. My sister was usually into Game of Thrones too, and it was crazy. And like the funniest thing to me, and I'll never forget this, is that while series season is it 8? Is that the last one? Whenever the last season was airing, I remember being on Twitter and like every like day, was it like a Sunday that it would air, people would talk about it. And they wouldn't like spoil things, but they would like talk about how they felt about it. And I remember that the initial perception was like, yo, Game of Thrones is back. And then it became, I'm not sure about that. And then it became, yo, that last episode kind of sucked. And then it became, fuck this show. And then, and it was funny because I even followed people that were like, I don't know why people are complaining. That was kind of good. I kind of like that episode actually. And then next week they were like, actually, no, fuck that. So I saw the whole turnaround on like a week to week basis happening in real time in the form of tweets. And I was like, that's actually really funny. And then everyone stopped talking about it. Game of Thrones just disappeared. Nobody gave a shit anymore. And that to me is like a legendary event that I want to witness. And I got to witness it like from like a distance of what the reaction was, but I didn't get to know what they were talking about. So I kind of want to know. And I want to say, because I'm thinking about this already, and it's the fact that me talking about this, if it is just a pile of trash, as is a burning trash can, it kind of isn't giving it merit to the actually good seasons, good episodes, and good storylines, or whatever the show may have. So I'm gonna actually appreciate the show for what it's doing as we go through it. But I want you guys to know that I love trash fires. I love watching trash. I actually enjoy trash a lot. So if the show turns into trash at the end, that would be my favorite. Well, we'll see. We'll see, right? We'll see the experiment. Because that is actually an experiment, isn't it? Because I am not a Game of Thrones fan. And people that are into Game of Thrones, they actually like enjoyed it. And then they reacted to the disappointment at the end. I'm actually going into it knowing that it's a trash fire at the end. So will that be worse or better? Will that destroy or enhance my enjoyment of the show? That will be the experiment. What is the journey if we started from the beginning after knowing how it ends? Well, I don't know the specific, but I do know it's bad. Or like most people consider it bad. I think that is safe to say. Maybe not everybody. If you like the end of Game of Thrones, that's fine. But like everyone I talked to has been like, yeah, man, it sucked. So it will be a fun experiment. I think that will be fun. And I actually do want to get kind of into it. But I do know that that show like has a lot of like shitty people in it. So I'm going to be yelling at my screen a lot. But whatever. Sure, Game of Thrones. Next show on the list is The Boys. I think it's like a superhero show. That's it. I don't know anything about it, but I do know that when it was like new, I think there's like 2 seasons now. When it was like coming out, people were like, "Yo, that show's really good. I really enjoyed The Boys. That was a fantastic show." And I'm just like, "Okay, writing it up for future note." So here it is. It's on the list, and there we go. Next show on the list, Hannibal. This show is a couple years old. I do know it's about like a gay detective and a gay cannibal. Actually, I don't know if they're actually gay, but that's like the joke. They might be actually. And it's funny that the detective cannot put one on one together and go, you know what? I think that guy named Hannibal, he might be a cannibal. That's funny. Yeah, that's all I know about it. Matt Mikkelsen is in it, and Matt Mikkelsen is cool because he's kind of like clueless. He gives the vibe of someone who like doesn't give a shit, and he just stumbles into his work. Like I think it was Matt Mikkelsen who had this thing where Rihanna, like the Rihanna shit. Oh yeah, so he was like in a Rihanna video, I think, and I think he like talked about it, and he got offered to be in a Rihanna video, and then he was like, I don't know what the fuck that is, and then he asked his like children, and they were like, what the fuck? Yes, it's a Rihanna video. Go! And he was like, I don't know, and they were like, you're a fucking idiot. And he was like, so I guess I said yes. And that's really funny because that's like his attitude towards everything. So and especially like Hideo Kojima, where Hideo Kojima has like a huge man crush on him, and he's just like, I guess I'm doing shit with him. I don't know what's happening, but sure. So that's funny too. Mads Mikkelsen is in it. So yeah, Hannibal, sure. Um, next episode, whatever. Sure, I'm used to making reactions. Next show on the list is another animated one, and it's Castlevania. It's a Netflix one. I think it's Netflix made, and it's some form of adaptation of the hit video game series from of Konami from 1986, before I was even born. So, I don't know if I've ever played a Castlevania game. Maybe I did, but it was like so early on in my life that I don't fucking remember. Um, I definitely didn't play like the popular ones. I think there's like a popular one with Alucard and shit. Um, which one is it? I don't know the names. I just know random names thrown in my head, but I don't know which one is the one that I'm thinking of. But I have a friend of mine who is really into Castlevania. I'm not. So, but what I do know about Castlevania is that it's about like the Belmont family, and I think there are some form of vampire hunters, and they deal with Dracula, and they like seal him away maybe, and then he comes back, and then the next Belmont has to deal with him, and I think that's like the whole point of the Castlevania series. It's like JoJo actually. It's a little bit like JoJo, just the entire family line dealing with this asshole vampire coming over and over. I heard the two of them like compared to each other, so maybe that's the comparison point. But yeah, other than that, I don't really know much about it. I don't know which character we follow in the show even, but I've heard the show is really good. I've even seen screenshots of characters saying some dumb shit, and I'm like, that sounds really good. I have a friend of mine who has watched the show, and they're like, the show is actually great, and I'm like, cool, good, good, good. So Castlevania, throwing it in there, more animated shows. Okay, so next show. This is a couple years old classic. Is it over? I'm not sure if the show is over. Stranger Things. I think it's about dumb children, and there's like an 80s vibe to it. Might or may not be taking place in the 80s. I think Winona Ryder is in it, and there's some weird shit happening. That's all I got. I don't know if it's like Cthulhu weird or if it's like alien weird or whatever weird. But like I remember when I started getting into Dark, back when I started doing the Dark reactions, I remember hearing Dark being compared as like a time travel Stranger Things, and I was like, okay, so better Stranger Things. I haven't seen Stranger Things, but time travel is inherently better than whatever else strange shit you might have. But I never actually watched it. I know it's very popular. My sister has seen it, and like my sister has seen like Game of Thrones and Stranger Things, and they're very mainstream shows. And she was like heavily recommended. And not that I trust any recommendations coming from her, but it's in here because a lot of people talk about it and they enjoyed it. So there we go. Another show that a lot of people talked about and enjoyed over years, and I never seen, Breaking Bad. I think it's about a dude, and he gets into drugs. I think that's pretty much it. I don't know anything else, but it has like several seasons, and it's a show that I think people have said it's fantastic, and it ends in a really high note too. So like it's a show that is good all the way through, and I'm excited to do that. So if we do get around doing it, then it will be great. So yeah, Breaking Bad also on the list. Next show, another animated one, Cowboy Bebop. This one comes from Japan. The other two I don't think come from Japan. Actually, I don't know who animates the Castlevania anime, but yeah, Cowboy Bebop. This one comes from Japan. It's an anime from '98. I think when I googled it last time, it was '98, wasn't it? So yeah, '98. So, what do I know about it? I know it's funky as shit. I know it's about like a space group of people doing dumb shit. I think it's very funky, and I don't know to what degree it's serious, to what degree it's goofy. I think it's like a mixture of both. But I do remember hearing like the intro one time and thinking it was like very funky, and I was like, yo, I have to watch that show. Also, the animation seems pretty cool. The characters seem cool, so I'm like, all right, let's get on watching that eventually. So I threw it in the poll. I also heard this be referred as like the anime that is like the less anime you can have, that you can like recommend someone that doesn't really want to get into anime, but it's cool animation. Cowboy Bebop it is. I also remember that hearing or reading at some point, and I don't remember the name of the dude because I'm not into Cowboy Bebop, but the dude who came up with Cowboy Bebop, apparently he was hired to come up with some kind of space show in order to just sell figures for like Bandai or something, right? Like a company that would make a bunch of like toys. They were like, yo, make a show so we can sell toys. Like a space show, like some Star Wars shit, you know? And then he came up with Cowboy Bebop, and then everyone was like, what the fuck? We can't work with this. Because it's not really like a toy show. It's not like Gundam. It's an actual show. And then they were like, fuck you, get the fuck out of here. And then I think the dude went up to like a different company and they were like, yo, take a look at this. And they were like, this is actually rad. And then they made the show. And I think that's a really fun origin story for the show. So I'm excited to get into it because of that alone. But yeah, Cowboy Bebop also on the list. More anime, let's go. The next show on the list says a mouthful. It's Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. I can infer a couple things from the title of the show. I think it's like a goofy detective title. That's pretty much how I would describe it. The only thing I know about the show is that it has like a niche hardcore fan base probably. So I have a friend of mine who I appreciate a lot, and she actually watched the show, and I remember that the show was going to be canceled / was canceled, and I remember that there was this whole movement of fans being like, save Dirk Gently. It was like a tag on Twitter, and they're like, yes, let's save Dirk Gently, it's a fantastic show, let's save it, there's nothing like it. And my friend was in on that shit. She was like, yo, this show is awesome, we need to save it. And I don't think they succeeded, but it does tell me that the show is maybe to a degree unique. It has like a hardcore niche, and I've had people comment about the show too on my videos, so throwing it in the poll. Sure, it's in there. I don't know how many episodes it is, but we'll figure it out. Okay, next show on the list, The Umbrella Academy. This one I know nothing about. I think it's a superhero show of some kind, and I think Elliot Page is in it. Elliot Page. That's how you pronounce Page. I don't know literally anything else about it, but I've seen the name around, so I think it's a good show. So because a lot of people have talked about it, but I just like, I don't know anything about it. You cannot infer anything from the title, so I'm like, yeah, I get nothing. That's it. Okay, so throwing it in the poll. I'm just throwing shows that I think people might enjoy, and that's it. And shows I've heard thrown around as well too. Okay, so another show that I've seen around a lot actually, like recently. This is a recent show, and it's Cobra Kai. The thing about the show is that I was like, wait, what is this? Like, it might be like another like dumb superhero show that is like connected to some large universe or whatever. So I googled it, and it is connected to something. It's not connected to a large universe. It's connected to 1984's Karate Kid, specifically. And I was like, okay. So, the thing about Karate Kid is that I know about it, and I probably saw it, but it's been so long ago since I fucking saw it that I like remember nothing from it. Like I know the gist of it, but I don't remember the specifics of it. So what I'm going to be doing, and I'm not sure if it is required to watch Karate Kid in order to understand fucking Cobra Kai, but I'm still gonna do this. So if Cobra Kai wins the poll, I am making a reaction to 1984's Karate Kid. It's 1984, right? Because I remember, yeah, 1984. So I'm making a fucking reaction video to 1984 Karate Kid, the fucking movie. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna be doing it. Like, it's gonna be like a short highlight video, but I'm not sure if the full length is gonna be free for everybody or if it's like, yeah, sure, it'll be free for everybody. Let's consider it as like the first episode of Cobra Kai. So the full length for 1984 Karate Kid is gonna be free for everybody, and then we might get into Cobra Kai afterwards. Well, we're gonna do it. If Cobra Kai wins, we're doing Karate Kid and then Cobra Kai, right? Okay, cool. Let's get that out of the way. So I'm doing Karate Kid on the first week, and then on the second week we started Cobra Kai, if it wins. So throwing that out there. But I've heard the show is really good. A lot of people haven't talked about it. It's recent, and I'm like, you know what? I'm down for like a dumb karate show, like whatever, like fighting martial arts. I enjoy that, so let's do that. And okay, that's it for that entry. And the last entry on this poll is The Witcher. People talked a lot about The Witcher when it came out, and then everyone kind of forgot about it. I'm not sure if it's good or not. I think it is. Oh god, there was another show that I forgot that I needed to throw in the bowl. Okay, so let's talk about The Witcher. So, it's cool. Henry Cavill is in it. What I do know about The Witcher is that I know about The Witcher video games. I never played them because I've heard that the first video game from The Witcher is actually a crazy game for crazy people because it's some Eurojank. The second game might be okay. I actually think I started it, but I didn't make much progress in it. And then the third game, which is the popular one, Wild Hunt. That's the one that everybody was a big fan of. Everybody loved. I'm not a big fan of open world games at this point, and I don't have that much interest in starting it. And also, like, I don't want to start any game at 3. I want to like start from the beginning, and if the beginning sucks, then I don't want to do it, right? But what I do know, it's about this dude. His name is Geralt of Rivia. He looks cool. He looks rad, and I think it's like a medieval setting. And there's like a card game called Gwent, and that's pretty much it. That's all I know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can watch the show without knowing anything about the games. I think it's like its own thing. I also know that the games are like taking from original novels, and if I remember correctly, I think that like what happened is that like the original author of the Witcher books, like CD Projekt Red, which is the company that made the games, they approached him. They were like, "Yo, can we use your story for like a dumb video game or whatever?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, you can have the rights for like, I don't know, $10." And they were like, "Got it." And then The Witcher got really big because of the games, and then the other was like, "Can I get some of that? It's my book." And they're like, "Yeah, but the deal we made." And he was like, "Yeah, but I didn't know video games were actually real. I thought they were like a dumb toy." So then there was like a whole thing. And I think now they actually reached an agreement, and he's actually getting paid for the original novels and everything. But yeah, I think that's really funny. But yeah, Witcher, I think Henry Cavill is Geralt. And I remember everyone was super horny for him, as they should be, because he's a good-looking man, and he looked really good in like the costume. I seen pictures, and I think he's a huge nerd too. Like he's really into World of Warcraft and shit, so it would make sense. So yeah, he's cool. Everything's cool. That's all I know about The Witcher. And now, I just added this show because I just remember it exists, and a friend of mine was talking about it, and I was like, you know what? Sure. The Mandalorian. I heard the show is really good. Like from a lot of people, I've heard the show is really good. Everyone has been talking about it. Here's the thing: it's a Star Wars show. I am not a Star Wars fan. I watched the original trilogy. I watched the original trilogy. I watched the prequel trilogy, and I watched what is the name of the first new one of the new trilogy, sequel trilogy? It's a okay. The first one. Fuck, I forgot the name of this fucking movies. Okay, so I watched the one with the Rey and the Kylo and the Ren and the people, right? I what Finn, that's his name, and then the other guy, played by Oscar Isaac. I don't know why I know the name of the actor, but not the dude. All right, so I know the first movie of that trilogy. So I know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's it. That's where it ends. I heard the sequel trilogy in itself is not that great. Like the first movie played it safe, which I agree with. And then the second one of the new trilogy was like, whoa, what are we doing? It was wild. And then the third one like dialed back everything that was ballsy about the previous one. So that's like, okay, what are we doing? Like it seems to be a case of like, okay, a lot of big companies are just getting their hands on the Star Wars pie because it's fucking Star Wars, and they just want to appeal to as much as they can and get as much money as they can. And it's like, okay, it's disappointing. Well, I'm talking about something that I don't know about, so maybe not. So I'm sorry about that. But The Mandalorian, it's my friend told me that I only need to know the original trilogy and like the prequels, I suppose. So I don't need to know anything about the new stuff, which good. I like that. Mandalorian. By the way, like I watched them. I'm not a big fan of them, but I think I know enough in order to carry myself. Okay, so Mandalorian fans, you know better than me. I only watched like the original movies and the prequels like once each, and I do remember them mostly. But I'm not gonna be someone that knows like all the details and the ins and outs and the references. So if I don't have that with me, will I still enjoy the Mandalorian, or do I have to be like a hardcore Star Wars fan in order to get it? So yeah, let me know if that's the case. If you think I'm not gonna like enjoy it to the degree that I should, then just don't vote for it. But if you think it will be fine, then you're free to vote for it. So there you go. I'm throwing that out there because my friend told me it's okay for me to watch it, and I heard it's really good and it's current. So I'm like, you know what, Mandalorian, we can do that. Okay, we've been going for this for like half an hour now. Okay, that was the final show. So this is a dumb half an hour video. I'm just gonna make it so you can skip through every nomination in the description of the video. So don't worry about it. But yes, again, the Patreon poll is a free poll. You can go over at Patreon. You can just cast the vote for free, a single vote to a single show. And the voting will end on, oh my god, I didn't actually make a calendar. So when is the Expanse coming out? Okay, so Expanse episode 7 is going to be coming out on the 6th. So this will be 8, 9... Wait, okay, no, give me a second. So it would be 8 on the 6th, 9 on 13, 10 on 20. Okay, so let's say that by like Monday 22nd of March, okay? March 22nd. That's when the poll will end, okay? Okay. So you'll have like, I don't know when this is going to air. You'll have like, I don't know, over 2 weeks in order to vote for one of these shows. And then whichever show wins the vote, that's what we're going to be watching. So, yeah, we have here several live actions, a couple animated, different tones all across the board, different eras, different everything. So yeah, we have a nice variety here. Yeah, vote for your favorite. You can get your friends into vote and everything too. That'll be fine. I don't mind that. It's in a way more exposure. Oh, and yeah, like please like comment and likes and everything on the videos. Like I'm throwing this in here because I don't want to be intrusive otherwise, but make sure to do all of that because I would like the algorithm to like be kinder to me, because YouTube is kind of fucked, and like you need to like kind of exploit the system in a way in order for like the system to like favor you for channel growth. So make sure to help me out doing shit like that, okay? But yeah, we're good. So that's it for this video. That's the poll. Those are the shows. Yeah, we'll get to see when the show airs what it was who actually won. Well, when you see the final episode of The Expanse airing, then you can go to the Patreon and you can tell which show won. You can just tell. So, right, there we go. That is it for this video, yeah. I'm gonna go play Danganronpa before it gets too late. It's already 8 p.m. Shit. And every Danganronpa trial is like 5 hours. God fucking damn it. Okay. I shade it. Okay, I might play Yakuza instead. What? Yeah, check my Twitch. I stream games there. I'm trying to do that every like day or couple days. So yeah, twitch.tv/Haarute. Wink. You. It's difficult to tell when I'm winking when I have my eye cover. You can tell, but it's not very noticeable. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Take care. Vote for your favorite show. Yeah. Let's have a good time together. Okay. Take care and see you next time. Bye bye.